A lot of us don't understand how to go to banks, what goes on applications, what our underwriters looking for when they want to actually lend us money. You want to start making banks or being in a situation where banks can compete to lend you money, and you want to also be able to compete when it comes to interest rates. We are our federal protected consumers, which means we have laws that actually protect us.
He is my partner on my team that handles all the funding process for everybody that needs to get funding. So he's gonna come up here. Come on up, bro.
Woo! What's going on with y'all? Yeah, y'all ate that. Y'all ate that. The turkey sandwiches back there. But no, I want to get back up to Mikey, man. What he doing is dope. So let's give him a round of applause. Really, I gotta start with this, giving up to my Lord and Savior. I really wouldn't be if it wasn't for God, right? So, I'm gonna talk about, a little bit about credit, a little bit about funding. But how many really feel like this is an upper echelon experience? Like, who feels like you had an upper echelon experience today by going to different job sites, different units, right? Single families, right? Like, who even thought that the last unit, the 19 unit, that you would have thought that's like a black person owned that? Right? And then to understand about the CDFI, the different, the affordable housing trust, right? Just understanding all the different resources that we pretty much have. And this is why it's so important to just understand that when you get plugged into mentorship, the mentorship will change your life because you don't really understand all the resources and things that we have available to us because we just not taught, right? And so it's really good that we can learn from other people who've gone through the experience that we pretty much had. So I'm gonna get straight into my talk. I basically focus on teaching people how to legally rob the banks. Now the reason why I say that is because back to what we talked about when it comes to resources. A lot of us don't understand how to go to banks, what goes on applications, what our underwriters looking for when they want to actually lend us money, right? Because banks make money on something called interest. Right, that's one of the ways that banks make money, right? So a lot of times they're looking to lend out money, and if you understand how to properly position yourself, you can get access to the funding, right? And so, I mean, has anybody ever tried to like rob a bank illegally? Right, but really it's about accessing the capital. Once you get access to the capital, it's about buying assets, right? So looking at what Mikey's doing when it comes to building the ground up, look at what Workout talked about, right? Buying different businesses, right? The whole goal of getting access to capital is so you can buy something called what? Assets. And what do assets do? What's the word for assets? What do assets really do? Appreciate. They appreciate, but assets is something that what?
Brings cash flow. Money.
Talk, man. What's up with you?
Brings cash flow.
It makes you what? Okay, what's a liability? Something that costs you money, right? You gotta get this quick. So, I'm known as Mr. Struggle Before Success. Definitely I made millions in business and became a successful entrepreneur. I'm actually a college dropout. So I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, pretty much dropped out of college. And so this is, pretty much one of the ways that I got to where I am today. But what we're going to basically talk about is being able to control your credit profile, access, bank capital, understanding how to build businesses. And then the reason that you want to do that is so you can create ownership. The number one thing that y'all gotta realize in this conversation that we talked about today is being able to create ownership. Because when you actually own the land and you now own the real estate, you now own something. Right? One of the biggest things a lot of us rent, right? Who here has a job? Like you have a 9 to 5. And that's okay, raise your hand, right? So think about it. If you have a 9 to 5, can someone come and fire you and say, hey, you're fired? So does that mean that you own your income or you're renting your income? You're renting, right? If you rent, who in here rents right now? Like you pay rent every month, right? And can someone come and kick you out? Okay, so that means you're renting your place, right? But what happens when you actually create ownership? Right? When you own your income, when you actually own the place that you live in, when you start actually creating ownership, then now we can actually start changing the narrative in our community. And that's pretty much the conversation that we're talking about today. Right? So some of these strategies, I use, me and my mom accessed over $500,000 in business funding, started multiple different businesses, generated millions in a short period of time. And so here's some pictures of just basically working together. Right? One of the biggest things that my guy said in there when he was talking about is like a lot of us don't work together, right? We don't understand the power of us coming together, working together. So even me and Mikey met in a room just like this, right? One of the biggest things y'all gotta realize is some of the people that you want to do business with, we might in a room just like this, right? It's not gonna be your homeboy from the hood, right? We talk about the day ones and day twos. A lot of times you're gonna make money and do things with your day twos. It's not gonna be your day ones. A lot of us gotta start realizing that we gotta give up on the people that we grew up with. Because a lot of times we have loyalty just because we come from a similar background, but that don't mean we have a similar what? Future. Right? We might have a common past, but don't mean that our future is gonna be common. So we gotta get out of the habit of just hanging around people and just having all this loyalty to people that we have common past with, not understanding that our common past is not our common future, right? And a lot of us are locked into our past, but we're not locked into the goals and the dreams that we have and the futures that we're supposed to be building every single day. So that's why in events like this, you need to network with the people in the room. Get the numbers, get the Instagrams, right? Start having conversations so you can hold each other accountable. Because you can't, right now, there's people right now, I'm gonna be real with y'all, I watched some of y'all be on the phone, some of y'all was on the phone with people that y'all grew up with. Y'all are here at the event, but you're not even so locked into the event because you're still on the phone talking to somebody who ain't at the event. Right? If they really was locked in with you, that's where they would be at. They'd be at the event with you. Right? So we gotta start realizing that, hey, at the end of the day, it's time to get off the phone with the people that we got a common past with and start like basically being uncomfortable. Because a lot of times we just get on the phone with our homeboys and stuff because we're not really comfortable networking and building and getting new relationships. But this is what this is about in this room. So just understand that me and Mikey met in a room just like this. It's about building new relationships with new people so you can get to the next level. Who want to go to the next level? All right, cool, right? So you can't go by yourself. So we got some. All right, we'll take that too. All right, so this is very important. One of the things that we gotta start realizing is the black dollar, right? It says the black dollar circulates for only about 6 hours in the black community. Right? The black dollar only circulates for 6 hours in our community. So what does that mean? Every time we make money and we get money, what do we start doing? We're spending it where? With other cultures and other communities. Right? So we're actually our own biggest nightmare. Right? When it comes to the wealth gap. It's us because we're not keeping the money within the community. Right? Now it says that compared to the Jewish community, it stays in about 20 days. The Asian community, the dollar stays in 30 days, and the white community, it stays in about 17 days. So every other community right now is beating us, not because we don't make the money, it's because as soon as we get the money, the first thing we go do is spend it with what? Other communities, right? Then it says 1.6 trillion in spending power. It says that black Americans have over 1.6 trillion in annual spending power. So if black America were a country, it would be around the 10th to 12th largest economy in the world. Did y'all even know that? No. Did y'all know that? Yeah. Right? Think about it. Like, so I mean, we already make the money. We already get the money. We would be one of the 10th to 12th largest economies in the world if we understood what to do with the what? With the money. Now, it says less than 2% of businesses. So black Americans represent 13 to 14% of the U.S. population. It says, but only about 2 to 3% of our businesses have employees. Now, let me explain what that means. That if we represent 13 to 14% of the population, and that only 2 to 3% of our business have employees, that means that anytime we want to go get jobs, we have to go where? Outside our community, do what? Just to take care of our family. Do you understand how major of a problem it is? Because that basically says that if all of us was to step up and start owning businesses, creating wealth, right, buying assets, that we can start employing our own what? Our own community. So now we're all a part of the problem. So the reason that we're all here, though, is not about the problem, it's about creating what? Solution. That's the solution. So just understand it now, as I move forward, right, only 4% of our businesses make over $1 million. It says out of 2.6 million black-owned businesses, only about 4% do over $1 million annually. Who in here has made over $1 million? I know workout did. Who in here, Mikey, I don't know where Mikey went at, but who in here has made over $1 million in business? Raise your hand, right? So that means, so what happens is that now you fall into what? The 4%. But what's one of the biggest barriers on why our businesses don't make over $1 million? Does anybody know? Access to what? Capital. I like that. She got it. It's access to capital, right? Now, venture capital. Does anybody know what venture capital is? Understand what venture capital is? In the back. You said you raised your hand. Look. Can you explain to your knowledge?
Yeah, venture capital is like money that it's like startup cash. So
okay. It's like startup capital, right? So basically what venture capital is a group of people or a group of individuals, organizations, they come together, they put money together, and they lend it out to certain startup businesses or businesses that are expanding, growing, and things like that. Okay, it says that black founders receive less than 1% of venture capital funding in the United States. Less than 1%. So the other 99% is going where? To other cultures, right? So the reason why we're saying this is because you got to understand how important it is, one, to get access to capital, the different resources like he talked about, but understand that we got to know what to do with it once we get access to it so we can continue to get what? More. Okay. Now, so now, net worth gap, right? It says that the median white assets, and I want to say this too, this is not a color thing, so I don't want you to make, it's not about color. But we got to really understand exactly where we are in life. A lot of times we can't fix a problem if we don't recognize that it is. Y'all follow what I'm saying? So I don't want to make this a color thing. I know it's saying white and black, but it's not about color. It's just understanding really where we are as an economy and as a culture, so that we can address the problem and understand where we are. Understand this is why events like this, housing projects and things that we see today, why this is all important, right? So it says that median white assets are 285,000, but for blacks it's just about 44,000. Right? That's a 6 to 7x wealth gap. I'm like, Hey, man. So the reason I'm saying that though, because think about that. Right now, look, we understand that there was a system that was put in place. The slavery, all this kind of stuff. Now we can't leverage that as an excuse, but we still gotta realize that there's a 6 to 7x wealth gap in our community. So why it's important for you to get capital, the reason why it's important for y'all to start developing, buying real estate, buying assets is so that you can bridge the gap when it comes to the wealth gap. You understand? Because at the end of the day, like, it's really about the future. So all of us here today have a job and a duty for our kids, right, and our kids' kids to bridge the wealth gap. Right? Now, home ownership. It says that, this is in 2020, it says the home ownership for black households was about 43%, while the home ownership rate for white households was at 72%. So that means that most of us are not even going out and buying what? Houses. Right? Even starting that. Who's heard of house hacking and buying your first house? And then, matter of fact, shout out to the Queen, she house hacked 3 houses in the hood. Right? But this just goes to show the different percentages. Now the reason why I bring this up because most people don't talk about it. And if we don't talk about it, as I said, we don't understand the biggest problem is that we gotta start owning assets. This is why capital is so important. Going to the banks is so important. Understanding what goes on applications. All the things we're going to talk about later on is important so that you can basically bridge the wealth gap, not only for your family, but actually be a better part of helping the culture and the economy for our people be better. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Is that something that y'all care about? Yeah. Y'all like, nah, I just want to pressure my family. Now, the richest people even leverage capital, right? Who's heard of Amazon? Who shopped at Amazon today? Who bought some Amazon today? Most of the women will raise their hand. I already know. Right? It says that Amazon received an $8 million loan in the 1990s to expand operations. Right? Right? $8 million loan. Right? It says this financing helped Bezos scale Amazon from beyond the online bookstore. So now, Amazon generates over $61 billion in revenue. They're the world's largest retailer online. They have about $35 billion in cash and cash equivalents, but they have a long-term debt of $59 billion. So what are they leveraging more? Their cash, or they leveraging what? Debt. So this is where we got to start understanding that all wealthy people leverage credit and leverage debt and they leverage funding, right? Now, the $8 million loan was probably from a friend. Who in here got a friend that you can pick up the phone and call and say, y'all need a quick $8 million real quick? Yeah, we all got the wrong friends. I call Mikey, I'm gonna ask for $1 million, I'm gonna see what he say next week. No, I'm joking, right? But the thing is that just understand that like a lot of people don't understand. It goes back to the power of what? Resources, right? This is why you gotta connect with people in the room. This is why you gotta start understanding it's about resources. It's not always, it's not always just about going to the bank. Some people have private money. Private capital they pretty much let out. But yeah, he got $8 million and turned it into a major empire where now they're doing about $61 billion. Right? So, let's get past that. Now, this is very important. I want everybody to take a screenshot. Because one of the things that I realized is that I know y'all be on the internet, and the first thing you see on the internet, all you gotta do is have a 680 credit score. Who's heard? All you gotta do is have a 680 credit score. 680 credit score. 680, right? And the problem with that is that a lot of times in our community, we make our minimums and maximums. Right? Like we don't focus on being extraordinary, we focus on being ordinary. I want you to tell you a 680 credit score right now in America is very ordinary. You don't look no special to banks because you have a 680 credit score. Now, it gives you something to strive to, but the biggest thing is that we gotta start looking for excellence. So that's why I talk about getting an 800, because an 800 is excellent. It's the best credit, one of the better credit scores that you pretty much can have. Now, another thing you gotta realize is that you wanna start making banks, or being in a situation where banks can compete to lend you money, and you wanna also be able to compete when it comes to interest rates. Right? If you have a 680 credit score, you can't compete when it comes to interest rates, because you don't have one of the better credit scores. Now, there are certain habits and factors that goes into this, so that's why I told you I'm gonna take a picture. But essentially, these are the things that you pretty much need. One, you need no derogatory remarks. Who in here, and it's okay, who in here has a collection, a charge off, some type of negative item on your credit? Right? Some of y'all already talked to me, still ain't signed up yet, but we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, I know.
No, right? Right? You want to have at least 5 years of age on your credit report, right? You want to have at least less than 10% credit utilization. You want to have less than 5 inquiries in each reporting agency. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about this stuff in terms of just some of the intricacies that goes into it, right? And then you want to have at least 7 to 10 accounts on your actual credit profile. I'm not going to put my guy out there. I talked to my guy on the phone the other day, and I'm like, yeah, like he got a 700 plus credit score, but I'm like, but bro, we got to get more accounts, right? So sometimes the problem is that we think it's just about credit score, and what happens is that none of us have been taught how to actually structure a credit profile. So that's what we're going to basically talk about. Now, for those of you who had negative items on your credit report, you know, you can pretty much get your credit report by going to this website for $1, right? Now, another thing that I realized that most people don't understand how to leverage ChatGPT, right? But you can actually download your credit report and upload it to ChatGPT, and I'm going to give you a prompt, right? So you can draft an aggressive affidavit. One of the things about fixing your credit is that we are our federal protected consumers, which means we have laws that actually protect us. A lot of times, people are sending out dispute letters, but they're not actually drafting affidavits. An affidavit is an official sworn statement. Y'all follow me? It's an official sworn statement. So you want to ask it to draft an affidavit, right? And you can basically send this affidavit to all the reporting agencies, but you're going to leverage what is called Supreme Court case law, and you can also use what is called Uniform Commercial Code. And you can ask ChatGPT for the case laws. So you don't even have to know the law, right? Even with AI, the thing is like, even with, you got AI things like AI tools like Notebook LM. Who's heard of Notebook LM? Okay, cool, a couple of y'all. So Notebook LM is one of them sites where you can go to any link, any YouTube link. You can snatch the YouTube link. You can put it into Notebook LM and pretty much without even watching the video. So let's say like Mikey had a video on YouTube, right? And it was an hour-long video about development. You can actually snatch the link from YouTube, put it into Notebook LM, and it will basically it'll decipher the entire video for you. It'll give you flashcards for the video. It'll give you basically the whole entire video without you having to watch it.
Podcast.
Right? It'll do everything for you. Flashcards. It'll give you graphics. It'll do all types of stuff. So even today, none of y'all really have. None of y'all really have an excuse when it comes to getting access to information. Y'all follow? So just understand that certain AI tools that you pretty much can use. So yeah, I would draft the affidavit. You can go to notarylive.com. Notarylive.com will allow you to notarize the document 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can notarize it, and then when you notarize it, you just got to send it out certified. Online certifiedmail.com. Right? So that's pretty much how y'all can fix your credit. I just told you I did it for free. But the thing about free information, some people don't do not with it, right? Now, I'll give you out a PowerPoint, right? But you got to build out your credit report. Couple things is really important. When you're building out your credit report, you want to use secured loans. Okay, credit unions are really important. Navy Federal is a major credit union. You got Andrews, Federal Credit Union. You got Air Force Credit Union, right? You want to build out your credit report using credit unions. So you want to get into as many credit unions as you can. If you know about the play about going to AmericanConsumerCouncil.org, you can get on there for free. They have a bunch of different credit unions that you pretty much can leverage. I got 5 minutes. All right, cool. Since my guy's kidding. So when you set up your LLC, right, one of the things you don't want to have a risky name. So make sure that your name is not risky for your LLC. For your business address, you can pretty much go to, I like to use LoopNet. LoopNet is a business address site that basically has different businesses and stuff for sale. You can go on LoopNet and pretty much snatch the address, get an address. You can get an EIN for free from irs.gov. A business phone number should be a 1-800 number, and you can get that from Freedom Voice, freedomvoice.com. Your business email is $1 a month. It's ionos.com. You can get a business email for just $1 a month. Now, when it comes to your business bank account, okay, one of the things that I see a lot of people do is they don't really understand how to go and set up business checking accounts or why. Does anybody know that you can get paid for opening up business checking accounts? No. Yeah. No? Didn't know that? Who don't know? All right, cool. So right now, you can get paid to open a business checking account. If you go to Wells Fargo and you put $2,500 into a business checking account, they will give you $400. Right? Now, you just have to let the $2,500 sit for 60 days. You can go to Wells Fargo and get $400 for free. You can go to Chase, do the same thing, get $300 for free. You can go to PNC, get another $400 for free. You can go to Schwartz and get $400 for free. So you can make over, let's say you can make about $1,200 just for opening up business checking accounts. Right? Make over $1,200 just to open up business checking accounts. Now, if you want to understand how to do it where you don't have to come out of your own pocket, all you gotta do is get access to funding first, take the money from the funding and open up the business checking accounts, let it sit for 60 days, and you just made a free $1,200. Right? Just to open up business checking accounts. Now, one of the things you want to also do is what we call as bank audit. So when you want to open up business checking accounts, another thing that you want to do is look at banks as business partners. Right? Look at banks as actual business partners. So when I set up my business checking account, I went with Chase. Now Chase gave me $100,000 business credit card, 0% interest. I didn't, and really it was because they give out the most money. But how did I know that? Because I went onto a site called ibanknet.com, and on that site I basically looked at different banks and understood like how many assets and things like that. So understand that you can basically research banks, you can understand what kind of capital they have, all those type of things, and then from there, that's how you know what business checking accounts to get. But understand, you want to get paid to open a business checking account. Not only can you get paid to open up the account, but what can you do if your credit is good, you get paid to open up an account, what can you do after that? Go get access to what? Funding. So that so Wells Fargo, they gave me $40 for free, then I got an $8,000 business credit card, 0% interest for 12 months. When I got with Chase, they gave me $300, right? And I got $100 from them, 0% for 12 months. So that's $108,000 funded, and I got $700. Just open up the account. So this is where it comes into real financial literacy, right? So they about to kick me off the stage, but right? But understand they got different type of loans. A lot of y'all are probably going to qualify for this, no docs, which means you don't have to put in, like W-2s, tax returns, bank statements. Understand all banks have no documentation programs to get access to funding, and that's pretty much what you qualify for when you don't have tax returns and things like that. And yeah, so I do want y'all to take a screenshot of this before they kick me off the stage. So take a screenshot because this is just banks that pull from like Experian. So you got banks that pull from Experian. Let me know when y'all take a screenshot. And another thing is every 90 days, right? Y'all should be opening up 3 to 5 bank accounts every 90 days. Understand there are certain banks that pull from TransUnion, certain banks that pull from Equifax, certain banks that pull from Experian. So when you want to go and open up business checking accounts, understand the way that you do it is understanding where they pull from. So every 90 days, let's say you open up one bank that pulls from Equifax, one that pulls from TransUnion, one that pulls from Experian, right? And if you followed up what I just said, you can get paid to open up the account, but then you can also win them for funding. But the reason that you do it that way is because each bank is only going to pull from one reporting agency. So you're only going to get one inquiry across the board. Y'all got me? So I'm going to talk about that. But okay, here's. Huh? I get it. They keep kicking me on the stage, man. So take a picture of this. This is for Equifax. Let me know when y'all got the picture. There's one more picture for y'all. And then this is for TransUnion.
One time.
Gotcha. And this is for TransUnion. Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty much it, though, right? And, there's more to it, of course, but, just tap in, man. Mikey got a great program for y'all. Me and Mikey are pretty much partnered, right? So when y'all get access to him, y'all get access to me, and whatever y'all need. I mean, matter of fact, if you've already gotten funded by me, and we've done business together, stand up. If you already got some type of funding. Yep. Okay, cool. He gonna talk on camera, but I'm gonna let him do that. But make sure you, thank you. But no, I really appreciate y'all, man. Turn down energy up. I don't want to say this, man. Mikey Bank, who came to the house yesterday and seen a multi-million-dollar development? Yeah, man, that was deep. So I just want y'all to know, man, you gotta, like I said, man, get in the room, network with people because it can change your life. Just seeing even the development and stuff that he's been able to do, it really motivates me to want to get into development. I'm somebody from Baltimore, but I'm really motivated to do development because of the relationship, right? So yeah, we all do different things and make money in different ways, but understand this is why you gotta connect with the right people because you can also be motivated by getting in the room with the right people. So I just want you to know he's a great mentor, man. Just seeing what he's done with some of the young people and everything he got going on. So just if you're someone who has not tapped in, at the end of the day, what you're doing is holding back generational wealth from you and your family. So don't continue to do that. Make sure you tap in, give it the right mentor, give it the right coach, and I look forward to working with y'all.